All right, so we're gonna practice threading the sewing machine. First thing we need to do is obviously turn it on. So we know the power switch is on the right-hand side, and that's gonna give us a light, so we know that it's turned on. And then the dials over here, I just want to make sure real quick that they're set correctly. Always when you sit down at the machine, double check that because you never know what the other classes are working on. So the bottom knob is the stitch selector. We really only use these two right here. So I have it on set to straight stitch. The only other stitch we'll use in sewing one is the one directly to the left, which is a zigzag. We don't need it right now, but I just want to point that out. So it's set to straight. And then the top knob is our length of our stitch, and that one should always be on 2. That's a good length for what we need. We will occasionally change it to 4 when we do what's called a baste, which you'll learn in a little bit. So for the most part, 2 is where it's going to be at for all the semester, for the whole semester. The next thing you want to check is to make sure that the take-up lever, which is this right here that we already talked about, this is an up position. This should always be up when you start and stop sewing. And you guys know that the hand wheel, which we have on the side here, that only turns towards your body. So that only goes towards your body, and that controls the take-up lever. So before we even thread our machine, we want that to be an up position. So I'm just going to keep turning it towards my body until that's all the way up. And now we're good to thread. So I'm going to lift the cover and then take the top off of the spool pin. For your thread, this is a little bit older of a spool of thread. And so if it has a barcode sticker on, I always suggest that you put that on first because these older threads have a little catch right here in the plastic. And so if that's flipped the opposite way, sometimes it gets caught. And so always just make sure that the barcode is on first. So we're going to slide that on, and then we're going to put the holder on. And now we want to grab a good amount of thread so we can start threading the machine. So to start, we want to come around the top of the black peg right here, and then we're going to go down this channel on the right, and then we're going to go back up. And we're going to come from the right side around the take-up lever to the left side. And it just grabs it and then come back down. And then you have to look really closely. There's a little spot to catch the thread on the left. So I'm just going to bring that over, and it just catches right there. It just brings the thread close to the needle. And then if you need to cut yourself a new little end, you can. We're going to thread from the front to the back of the needle. Okay, and then grab and pull through. And then the very last step, super important, the thread needs to go underneath the foot and to the back. So don't forget that part. So the thread should always start underneath the foot and to the back. And that is threading.